Fills and strokes are the basis for just about every piece of artwork in Illustrator. Until the release of CS5, we could only create strokes that were a single stroke weight for the entire path. Now, with the width tool, we can make a single path have varying widths, either by using the anchor points that the path was created with, or by creating new ones with the width tool. If you'd like to follow along with this lesson, you can download the illustration from the link below this video. This tree was originally made with regular strokes. For example, this stroke in the middle was a fixed width stroke, just like over here. If you needed to recreate a path like this, a great tool for that would be the pen tool. And prior to CS5, if we needed to adjust the path, we'd first select the path, and then the only thing that we could really do was adjust the weight of the entire path all at once. Well, CS5 gave us this new tool that you can see right here in the Tools panel called the Width tool. If we select this, we can actually adjust either the points that are already on the path. If we notice the path now, we have an ending anchor point. We have one here in this bend, another here, one here, and one down here. We can adjust those anchor points, or we can create our own anchor points with the Width tool. Let's start out by adjusting one of these. If you notice the green tooltips, those are called Smart Guides. You can find those underneath the View menu, and you can turn on Smart Guides. Those help when you're working on your art and you need to know exactly where your cursor is. Notice that if I'm here, I'm on a path, and if I'm right over the anchor point, my Smart Guide not only tells me that I'm on an anchor point, but I can also see the current width and some other information about wherever my cursor is. Let's click right on the anchor point and pull out to make our stroke a little wider on both sides at the same time. If we needed to make it smaller, of course, we could pull in instead of out. Let's go down here to this anchor point, click, and drag out. And maybe this one here. Make some adjustments here as well. We can fine-tune any adjustment at any time. When we adjust an anchor point, the adjustment is limited to the selected point and the one on each side rather than the entire path. Let's go down to this anchor point, click, and pull one of the handles out, and we can continue to adjust. If you ever need a new anchor point, just click anywhere on the path with the Width tool. Any new point created with the Width tool is called a width point. The new anchor can be adjusted just like the ones that were originally created with a path. And then you can continue to adjust your path until you get it just the way you'd like to see it. If you need to only adjust one side of the path, hold your Option key down, and then we can adjust each side individually. It looks pretty good. Let's actually reduce the stroke weight a little bit, and then deselect. Your path is completely editable with the Direct Selection tool still. Let's see how that works. Let's get our Direct Selection tool, and like any other path, if it is a curved line, you'll see your direction handles. So if I click right on this anchor point, we'll get our direction handles, and we could modify the shape of the curve by moving the anchor points and then deselect. Let's create another branch using the pen tool. We'll slide our document over a little bit with a hand tool, and let's grab our pen tool. The P key is a shortcut for that. And let's create an additional branch. Let's click here to make our first anchor point, and then we'll click and drag to create a smooth point, and then maybe click here in the tree. Let's deselect that path by holding the V key down to get the selection tool and click away. And now the pen tool again will create a separate part of the branch. So click and drag, and then click here. And of course we can adjust those paths. The first thing we'll need to do is make them both a little bit larger. So let's select both of these objects and bump up the stroke weight. And And now let's adjust the branches with the width tool. Let's deselect. Move all this over just a little bit. And now let's work with the width tool. We'll start with this branch here. Let's grab the width tool and click right on the middle anchor point. And on the end point, let's pull that in. Why don't we actually move this one down? Let's select right on this anchor and move it down a little bit. Let's select this branch, grab the width tool, click the end, and to finish your project, you'll use a combination of the direct selection tool and the width tool to put the final touches on your tree. In this video, we learned how to use the width tool to create variable width strokes. In the next lesson, we'll look at dashed lines on open and closed paths. See you then.